funds now. So you never know what's going to happen on the Daily Briefing. Let's listen to that.
Senator Shaheen and Cardin for joining me here today. Now, as everyone knows, President Trump put down his phone for an hour to come to the Senate Republican luncheon to talk tax reform. Unfortunately, what the president says about tax reform has been correctly characterized by Senator Corker as untruths. And Corker was being kind. Let's just review a few of what the president says. It's just totally divorced. What the president says and what the Republican plan does are polar opposites. So, for instance, the president said this is not a plan for the rich. Blatantly untrue. Untruth number one, that this plan is not a plan for the rich. It repeals the estate tax, which benefits the 11,000 wealthiest estates in the country. Each one has to be more than $5 million. It lowers the top rate. Untruth number two, allowing hedge fund owners and big law firms to take advantage. Three, it provides a pass-through so very wealthy people can pay a lower rate than average Americans. Untruth F. So it is totally untrue, shall we say, that this is not a plan for the rich, which the president has stated. Then he says, at the heart of our plan is a tax cut for everyday working Americans. Untruth number two. Just wrong. Tax Policy Center, a third of middle-class families would pay more, and very few get much of a break. When they talk about getting rid of state and local deductibility, when they talk about limiting 401ks, when they talk about limiting the mortgage deduction, those are all aimed at making the middle class pay more so the rich can get a bigger tax break. That's not what America needs. That's not what America wants. And that is not what's in the plans put together by our Republican leadership in the House and Senate. That's an untruth. And then the president claims this will not increase, this will lower the deficit. Untruth number three. Absurd. No one believes that this will lower the deficit. And the Washington Post fact checker called this claim a fantasy. No one believes it. So it's untruth after untruth after untruth, as Bob Corker put it, when the president talks about the Republican tax plan. Untruth one, it's aimed at helping the middle class. Untruth two, it's not a plan for the rich. Untruth three, it lowers the deficit. This plan is a disaster for America. It's no wonder our Republican colleagues want to rush it through in the dark of night, because the more it's exposed to sunlight, the more rotten it smells. And the American people will know that. Senator Cardin.
Well, thank you, Senator Schumer. The more we're learning about the tax proposal that the Republicans will be unveiling next week, the more we have concern that this is certainly not in the interests of the American people. Senator Schumer talked about the fact, one thing is clear, it will blow a hole in the deficit. They're acknowledging it'll blow a hole in the deficit when they allow a $1 trillion hole to be created on the tax proposal. But in addition, we know that there's a lot of gaps in even reaching a $1.5 trillion deficit. Secondly, we know that it will benefit higher income families. The wealthiest are the ones that are going to get the big tax cuts. Senator Schumer mentioned this state tax repeal. He mentioned the issues concerning the high alternative minimum tax, which will benefit wealthy families. That's all clear. But one thing is also clear to me, and that is middle-income families are going to be asked to pay more. They're not going to get a tax cut. They're going to be actually asked to pay more. When you start looking at the way that they're going to be paying for this, they are talking about eliminating the personal exemption, the dependent exemption. People have large families. They're going to certainly end up paying more as a result of this proposal. You look at the elimination of state and local taxes.
All right, Senators Schumer and Cardin, Senate Democrats, coming to the podium there to push back against Republicans who had a meeting with President Trump today. And the person who invited President Trump, Wyoming Senator John Barrasso, was there with the president. He joins me now live from Capitol Hill. Sir, so there you have it. I mean, the Democrats have said that these are the 5 things that we're going to try to hit them on. They're saying that the president is not telling the truth when it comes to his tax reform plan. Are you prepared to deal with the message fallout from all of this?
It seemed to me, listening to those Democrats, that they're making it up as they go along. We had a very productive meeting with the president. I'm glad he accepted my invitation to come. He's talking about things that American families are concerned about, which is keeping more of their hard-earned money. And to me, that's what tax reduction and tax relief and tax cuts are all about. That's the president's focus. It's where we are united. We've taken the first step by passing a budget, and now next week we'll be releasing a tax plan. The Democrats haven't seen it. They are just making up what they think is going to be in it. I will tell you, this is a plan focused on a couple of things. One is lowering rates, simplifying the whole tax code, making it fair, letting people keep more of their hard-earned money. That's what the president was focused on today. That's where we are committed and working all together.
If the Republicans do decide to add this 4th bracket or something, a new tax on millionaires, would you expect that some Senate Democrats would say, okay, well, look, now they're taxing the wealthy, so maybe they could come on board?
The Democrats seem to use their same talking points no matter what we propose. That's why we're focused on letting people keep more of their hard-earned money, lowering tax rates for the American people, tax cuts for the American people. That helps them with more money in their pocket, and it